in your private practice, as you're probably having these conversations with patients, what are you seeing that people are ultimately presenting with? What are their concerns that are, kind of driving conversations that you are having with these people?
Well, most people that are really feeling quite impacted by everything are generally feeling a sense of mix of sadness, grief, worry, some overwhelm, and a heightened sense of responsibility in terms of depending on what their work is, for example, or suddenly looking at, what's happening in their families. And this sort of emotional, stability or instability is part of, the healing triangle. Naturopathic medicine works with the mental, the emotional, the physical, that is sort of held by consciousness, or the integration of spirituality within those. So again, the emotional well-being of someone absolutely impacts everything, just like the physical well-being. But when people come in right now, they're really just struggling with trying to sort of navigate this very new and different way of being. And the big piece that I'm trying to work with people is letting them, first of all, reassuring them that at the end of the day, we do not have control over what is outside of us. And secondly, that there is an ability that they can work with these, that this is our emotions don't define who we are. They're bundles of energy that work through us, and they're part of being human, but they are not who we are. We just feel them. So when there's that space to say, oh, I'm feeling this, and I can, I have a choice again of noticing all of these thoughts. And how do I go into this place of being able to settle so that I can make the right choice?
As people come to you and you start to have these conversations about inner stability, probably a big question everyone at home is asking is, how do I develop this? Or how do I deepen my inner sense of stability? So, what are the sort of recommendations or, kind of concepts that you put out to that you are working with people when you're having these conversations?
Yeah, it's a very good question. There are a tremendous number of tools, some of which can be as easy as noticing one breath, where you basically drop into noticing your full inhalation and exhalation, and you can keep your eyes open. But that's one practice. Another practice is, if someone is suffering, for example, from acute anxiety or a sense of panic, then one of the best ways to shift the body, because remember, it's almost as if, wherever our thoughts go, that's where our energy goes. And there is a saying in mysticism that wherever we put our attention, that's where energy will flow. So if you are finding, if somebody's finding themselves swirling in a lot of fear thoughts, one of the best ways to shift is immediately notice the senses of the body. So it can be something as simple as, what are two things I see? What are two things I can touch? What are two things I can taste? What are two things I can hear? And by coming into our sensations rather, that will stop the thinking mind. It interrupts it. It's almost as if the thoughts will still be there, but they can't just be streaming. And when people's thoughts are streaming, that's what causes this sort of propagation of this, this excessive drama. And again, it goes into cortisol. It's like they're just swimming in a bath of cortisol, because they're not able to drop in to themselves and say that right now I'm here. Nature practices, grounding, going into nature, earthing, anything that will allow you to feel that you are present in your body.
Yeah. I think the beautiful piece there is that there's not just one thing, right? Everyone needs to find what works for them. And sometimes you just got to try, right? You got to put something out there and see how it works for you. And often I think people are often surprised by what they find when they really do slow down and they kind of return to their body and just notice, right? We don't notice what's going on.
Exactly. And that goes back to what you were saying earlier, is that when we're so caught up in our regular day-to-day, that's that sort of dullness where we get a bit numb.
Mhm.
And it's as if we're just living in this on this one level of thinking mind and seeing, you know, social media or whatever else it is. And we
Mhm.
do forget about the fact that we have a physical body, and it's very, you know, it has a rich life, and the body speaks to us all the time.
Mhm.
And it's knowing that when we can just be curious and be willing to step into something that's unfamiliar, you're
Mhm.
right that all of a sudden someone will be pleasantly surprised. And
Mhm.
it's not like it's curative. This is a lifelong practice. And I think it's something that everyone can benefit from.
Mhm.
And it's not a cure-all. It basically is a tool to help someone feel that they can be self-aligned. They can be self-defined.